Today I'm excited not just to tell you, but to show you firsthand an incredible discovery, the Merneptah Stele. This stele is housed right here in Cairo, Egypt, at the Egyptian Museum. That's right, the background you see behind me is no facade. I'm recording today's faith-affirming finding on site, right here in Cairo, Egypt. Stay tuned to learn more.
Welcome to Faith Affirming Findings, a podcast dedicated to sharing with you
the incredible discoveries from the field of biblical archaeology.
These findings will strengthen your faith, affirm the historicity of Scripture, and provide you with unique insights into the culture and background of the Bible.
Now, here is your host, Associate Professor of Bible Exposition at Dallas Theological Seminary,
Dr. Paul Weaver.
I'm so pleased to have had the privilege this past week to teach 20 wonderful master's level students in Alexandria, Egypt. Students who are enrolled at the National Theological College and Graduate School. I had the honor of teaching them a course on Christology, which is the study of Christ, and soteriology, which is the study of salvation. Classes were in Arabic, and of course, I taught through an incredible translator. To learn more about how you can partner with the National Theological College and Graduate School through your giving and praying, visit ntcgs.org. Your time is precious, so let's jump right into today's faith-affirming finding. I'm in the Cairo Museum, which houses the Merneptah Stele. The Merneptah Stele was discovered in 1896 by Sir William Flanders Petrie. A stele is a stone slab that stands upright, but this is no ordinary stone. In the ancient world, steles were often used to commemorate an important event or declare military victories. The Merneptah Stele is no exception. The Merneptah Stele is indeed a victory stele, named after Pharaoh Merneptah, because it brags about military exploits of Merneptah. It was discovered in ancient Thebes, Egypt. This stele can be viewed today in the Egyptian Museum here in Cairo, Egypt. This stele is made of black granite and is massive in size. It measures 10.5 feet tall, 5 feet wide, and approximately 12 inches deep. Egyptian hieroglyphics are on both sides of this stele. At the top of this stele, the Egyptian god Amun-Ra is twice depicted. To the left and right of Amun-Ra is also two depictions of Merneptah receiving a sword from Amun-Ra, pointing to Merneptah's military achievements enabled by the so-called gods. Two additional deities are also depicted. The god Khonsu is located on the far right side of the stele to the right depiction of Merneptah, and the goddess Mut is located on the far left side of the stele to the left of the left depiction of Merneptah. Etched into this black granite stele is a hieroglyphic inscription that describes a military campaign that occurred during the first years of Merneptah's reign in 1210 BC. Most of the stele concerns his victories over Libya. The last two lines on the stele refer to a military campaign in the land of Canaan. Victories are declared over several cities, including Ashkelon, Gezer, and Yanoam. Ashkelon was a famous Philistine city on the coastal land of Canaan, and Gezer was more inland and would later become one of the cities that was strategically fortified by Solomon. See 1 Kings 9:15 and 2 Chronicles 1:14. As is typical of ancient historiography, Merneptah embellished his military accomplishments and minimized or flatly ignored his defeats. By the way, this is one thing that distinguishes the Hebrew Bible from all other writings of the ancient Near East. The Bible is honest, both with the victories and the failures of the Jewish people. But I digress. The Merneptah Stele reads, "Carried off is Ashkelon, seized upon is Gezer. Yanoam is made as that which does not exist." But what is most exciting and significant to us is what is written next. The Merneptah Stele reads, "Israel is laid waste, his seed is not." The Merneptah Stele is the very first confirmed and undebated extra-biblical reference to Israel. that is, that which is outside of the Bible itself. Merneptah claims that Israel was completely annihilated, which of course is refuted both by the Hebrew Bible and the archaeological record. It is also significant to note that there are unique symbols following the hieroglyphics for Ashkelon and Gezer and 𝐬𝐮 to indicate that they are city-states. But the symbols following the name of Israel indicates that Israel has no king and not yet a fortified kingdom. What is the significance of this find, you might ask? Well, first, it is the earliest undebated extra-biblical source, or source outside of the Bible itself, that mentions Israel by name. Second, this stele places the nation of Israel in Canaan by 1210 BC. This provides decisive evidence that refutes the claims of some scholars who had previously argued that the nation of Israel was insignificant in 1200 BC, if they even existed at that time. The fact that Merneptah chose to list Israel on this stele indicates that Israel is a significant people group during Merneptah's reign. Merneptah would not have bragged about being victorious in battle over a small and insignificant people group. Third, this discovery makes the latest of the theorized late dates of the Exodus impossible. The biblical text, when read straightforward on 1 Kings 16:11, places the Exodus around 1446 and the conquest of the Promised Land around 1400, after 40 years of wandering in the wilderness. The discovery of the Merneptah Stele supports this view and devastates one of the previous theories, which was held by many, that the Exodus did not occur until as late as 1150 BC. Obviously, the Exodus could not have been in 1150 BC if the nation of Israel is already in the land in 1200 BC. The fourth significance, and finally, the symbol following the name of Israel is believed to indicate that the nation of Israel in 1210 has no king and is not yet a well-fortified kingdom. This is exactly what the Bible describes as occurring in 1210. Saul would not be crowned for almost 100 years, and Solomon would not start fortifying key cities like Gezer, Hatzor, and Megiddo until around 1040 BC. The book of Judges reminds us over and over again, in those days there was no king in Israel. Once again, biblical archaeology, when done honestly and carefully, does not contradict, but rather affirms the biblical record. And that is your faith-affirming finding.
Faith Affirming Findings podcast is a listener-supported podcast devoted to affirming your faith in the reliability of Scripture and illuminating your understanding of Scripture.
If you would like to help sponsor the Faith Affirming Finding podcast,
You can make a tax-deductible donation of any amount, large or small,
at faithaffirmingfindings.com. That's faithaffirmingfindings.com and click on the Give tab.
We hope you'll join us again next week for another exciting Faith Affirming Finding.